Hello everyone, it's DuckFaden07. Today we are playing a GRIXIS Shadowtide Splash Questing Druid. Okay, so we have two green lands in the mana base to splash the Questing Druid, but also Questing Druid can be good even without the green mana, because in the early game we will mostly use just the Seek the Beast adventure, and then we'll only need the green mana later in the game, like turn 4 or later. Okay, so also some green cards on the sideboard. It's great having access to these cards in the Grixis build. You will see in the gameplay how important were they and help me win some of the matchups which I would not be able to win otherwise. Okay, so what do we have here? Let's see our threats. Our threats are Ragavan, Death Shadow, Murktide Regent and Questing Druid. Okay, so of course there is no Bowmaster in this build. I think at the moment Bowmaster is still good, but is dead in a lot of matchups, and the meta game is changing. There's like a lot of rhinos again, scales, and it's pretty dead in that matchup. It's also dead against Amulet Titan. These are all matchups which I play very often. It's okay against a scam, but nothing special, and so this is like a lot of matchups where the card is mediocre or really bad, and that's why I decided to completely ditch it. I think Bowmaster is still good in the Dimir version of Shadowtide deck. I saw it have a good result lately, I'm glad to see that, but I was more focused on playing this multicolor Grixis variants, and then I realized that Questing Druid could be a really good addition to the deck, so I decided to splash the fourth color for these few sideboard cards, which were very effective, and the Questing Druids of course. Okay, so other than our threats, we are playing usual stuff for Grixis. We have Totsis, we have Push, we have Bolt, Terminate, Expressive Iteration, but we also have 4 Stubborn Denials. This card is really good. Overall it's good, and it's also good right now. So having 4 Shadows, 3 Regents and also Questing Druids enable Stubborn Denial very efficiently, and it's enough to play it, and the card is really powerful, and you really want to have it in your deck if you're able to. Okay, so 19 lands because of the 4 color. I added another land. I think the mana base is fine. Of course Otawara could be something else, but I kind of liked the Otawara having that additional answer. On the sideboard I have some flex slots on the sideboard. I'll go through them. So obviously Commandeer is kind of a weird inclusion. I wanted to try it because a Commandeer can be really good against ring matchups and against Tron, and that is where this deck can sometimes struggle against Tron and against ring. So if you don't have Stubborn Denial and there is all the ring, it's really hard for the situation for you. And but now we have Tear Asunder on the sideboard and Commandeer, so these cards really help the Tron matchup, also help ring matchups, and just stealing the ring in decks like this one can really get you the game very quickly. And also we have Force of Negation, Subtlety, very cards that are very good in this match, in matchups I'm describing. Also at Alpine Moon, additional land hate here. Okay, so a lot of hate towards that type of decks like Amulet and Tron that I usually had problems with. And now we also have Back to Nature and Tear Asunders. Okay, so 4 colors mean a lot of good options on the sideboard. I decided as a one-off Dismember on the side as my additional removal, plus one-off Fury, and also already we have enough removal in the main, and that is it. Okay, so Engineered Explosives kind of don't feel as good as they were before, when there was like a lot of hammer time in the meta game. And rhinos are still played, and it feels like it's getting more and more rhinos as long as the scam is top deck. So explosives definitely good. I would consider playing second explosives on the sideboard, and I would also consider playing Narset, Parter of the Veils on the sideboard. And so these are some of the slots I was just still testing, and I didn't get to cast this either one time but yeah, so definitely something I would consider switching. I wanted to try it, but didn't get the opportunity. I played 2 leagues with this deck and finished 4-1 with both of in both of those leagues, but overall feeling when you play the deck seemed like really powerful, and I think if I played it more I would easily do the 5-0. Okay, so we will now go through one of the leagues and you will see what I mean. Just kind of I had a very good feeling playing the deck, and uh, having 4 expressive iterations plus 6 cantrips, and now also Questing Druid gets you a lot of card flow, a lot of card advantage, and you can really keep up with when fighting other mid-range decks, and finding the tools to sabotage their card rolls with artifact enchantment hate on the sideboard. Okay, it's very effective also. It can be pretty aggressive. Also, what I was considering, another thing I wanted to mention, is playing Bowmasters on the sideboard. For the Solitude Ring matchups, you could switch Shadows completely for Bowmasters. That is another thing I was considering, but didn't try it yet. But I think that is a reasonable option to try. Okay, so in this situation, I played my 6/6 Shadow as a blocker and shocked in Watery Grave to play my Stubborn Denial if needed. Okay, so I was on 7 life, opponent had a lot of damage on the field, but I was able to Stubborn the Ozolith here, which was kind of important. So yeah, now I untapped opponent to decide against attacking. And now I had some removals, which was pretty nice, and opponent was just on 1 card in hand. Okay, so they decided to animate Nexus in response and just put 4 infect counters on it, attack in the air. Okay, so that was okay by me because I was on 7, so and had removal for that big Inkmoth Nexus for next turn, so I was totally fine with that. Okay, so again, opponents trying to go with the Inkmoth, but I have the removal, and now I also have Expressive Iteration finding me Murktide, which really puts me in a good situation if I survive until the next turn. And I'm pretty, I have Stubborn Denial, so my chances of surviving are pretty good. Opponent unfortunately resolves the Hardened scales and go for attack with the Inkmoths. This can be dangerous if they get anything good from the top, but now when I was able to play the Murktide, I was able to start attacking with Shadow, which put me in a much better situation. Also, opponent just wasn't able to attack with Inkmoth Nexus anymore, so I went for the Totsis and played another Murktide. That was 13 damage, so opponent has to block my Murktide because it's lethal, and unfortunately I had to play the Totsis to be able to pump Murktide to 13, so no mana to play Otawara. But yeah, I don't think my opponent has top deck in their deck which can get them the win in this situation. And now I have 2 very large attackers in the air plus the Otawara for lethal. Yeah, they go for Inkmoth, I just bounce it and even have the Stubborn Denial backup, and that is the game. Okay, so let's check out the game 2. So thanks to the green splash, my plan for this matchup is much easier because I have Tear Sunders, I have Back to Nature, and these cards can be pretty good, can be really defining for the matchup. And because sometimes exiling their artifacts is the only thing that gets you out of their lock. So okay, opponent started with Zabaz and went turn 2 Patchwork. Okay, so I was able to go for the Fury here, pay 2 for ward, kill both of their creatures and put myself in a pretty comfortable situation. A lot of good cards in the hand, and yeah, so Tira Sunder can be very good against cards like Hangerback Walker. When you exile it, they don't get top tier token, but I really wanted to kill the Hangerback um, before they get to pump it on their turn. So on opponent's turn, they played Agatha Cauldron and Hardened Scales, and Agatha is really brutal card for Scales. It's the biggest, it's the biggest addition they got in a while, and the card is really good in that deck. Making some crazy turns, and if you can get rid of it, it will just quickly take over the game. Okay, so opponent has the 2 mana Ozolite, so they can put 3 counters on their creature for 2 mana every turn, which is a lot. I play my Murktide, so Murktide plus Bolt can deal with the top tier, but this situation where they have Ozolite in the play and just pumping their creature is definitely pretty bad for me. Okay, so they go with their 9/9 flyer. I go a Murktide block plus Bolt to get rid of it, and I have the dress down to kill their construct next turn, but all of this wasn't enough. Yeah, so they get whatever they want from Saga. They chose animation module, and I had the dress down to just kill the Hangerback. Hangerback enters with 0 counters and dies immediately. Unfortunately, I draw another land and a Fatal Push, and of course, a Fatal Push is just not a good solution in a situation like this when they have the Ozolite, they have the animation module, and yeah, even if I push the Hangerback, they get 3 tokens and also token from module, so this is pretty bad. And I concede this one, so let's check out the game 3. Okay, so in the game 3, as you could see before, I brought in all the green cards, and now when I'm on the play, I decided to leave out Back to Nature and Tira Sunder's left in. Ragavan is not that great against Scales, so I put 2 out and also put 2 Tatsis out. They can be pretty aggressive, so I want to be careful about losing life. Also, Stubborn Denials are pretty mediocre. Of course, they play some spells you can counter with it, but I think it's not what I want to have in this matchup. Okay, I exile Preordain and push. So I decided to use the push, pay for the ward and not play the Preordain. Yeah, killing the Patchwork here was really important, and opponent played Scales and just put 2 counters on their Hangerback. So I played push, kill the Hangerback before it grows bigger, and I was able to play 6/6 Murktide and 5/5 Death Shadow, which was pretty good. Opponent just 1 card in their hand at this point, but they had Ballista with 3 counters, and I'm on 8 life. Next turn they can put 2 counters on Ballista, make it a 5/5. So it can be pretty dangerous. Opponent, unfortunately I find Terminates to get rid of the Ballista, but now I'm on 5 life. I block one of the tokens with the Murktide, and they pump the one, put me on 2 life. Unfortunately I find a Lightning Bolt, so I was able to attack with Death Shadow for 11. Opponent jumps, and they have, with Pendelhaven, they have lethal for the next turn. If I didn't find this bolt, they would have got me. So they tried to pump the top tier, and I got the bolt in response, and I got the lethal swing back, and that is the match. Okay, so let's check out match 2. Okay, so Questing Druid was really helpful in this matchup. You get the body, you get the cards. Sometimes you get to use them perfectly. Sometimes you use one of the cards and you can't use the other. It's mostly fine. Okay, so I was playing against a Scam, and having Expressive Iteration plus Questing Druid in this matchup was very helpful. my opponent also played a version of a scam with Questing Druid Splash. So they had a couple of green lands to be able to cast the druid, but otherwise it was the usual scam. Okay, so as I said, having 4 expressive iterations, 4 questing bees, really helpful. And as you can see, even in a situation like this, when I'm on 18 life and exile questing that shadow with the druid, you still can in most situations find a way to play it and to use cards. So I was able to play Questing Druid, play that Shadow, and play the Preordain, pump the Druid to 3-3, and still I have another Shadow in hand, Expressive, Terminate, lot of powerful cards here. Okay, so opponent goes for the attack, I decide to block anyway, even if they have the Bowmaster. Yeah, so they had the Fury anyway, so it was like a free kill. They needed attack to get the treasure to cast the Fury, so it was a good decision. I go for a Terminate on Fury. This was a tricky choice. There are lot of tricky choices in this game. So they had 2 reflections and a Fury. Okay, so other reflection was just about to flip, and when they got 2 reflections, it's like almost impossible to not lose there. They get to end of turn, create a lot of copies and then attack for a lot of damage. It's mostly GG, but also reflection copying the Fury is even worse, so I had to get rid of the Fury and just hope to top deck the answer. And yeah, I play the iteration. I find good cards, so I wanted to play the Terminates to be able to double spell here, so I attacked with Shadow and I had lethal. Next turn I played 8-8 Murktide, and I was counting on opponent attacking me for 6, so surviving on 1 life. Opponent needed another card to win this. I could stay back with Shadow and just play defense, but yeah, at this point opponent can instant speed create griefs, and end of turn, if I waited too much, they would just create grief end of turn, then create another grief, and they had 3 cards in hand, so really I was in a situation where I needed to hurry this game up and try to win fast, but they had a Bowmaster for the finish, and that was it. Okay, so let's check out game 2. Okay, in the game 2, mostly I trim on Totsis. So when I'm playing first, I trim only 1 Totsis. When I'm playing second, I trim 2 Totsis. So you have to be careful with the life loss. You don't. This game is every life matters, and it can really be important to save that 1-2 life, whatever you can. So Totsis can be good on the play, removing their scam spell or their elemental, but on the draw it can be pretty bad, but still having 2 of them is the okay. And here my opponent had Bowmaster for my Ragavan, but I was able to fill my yard quickly, play 6-6 Murktide, and play Shadow, hold, dress down, Questing Druid for their turn. This is really a good situation. They go for Doughty, and I play the Seek the Beast, exile, Fatal Push and Terminate. That is like really good. 2 removals, exactly what I need. I also find another land from the top, so I was able to play both of my removals and kill opponent immediately. 10 damage there. So that is the game 2. Let's check out game 3. Again, a pretty good hand. So as I said, I think I trimmed another Totsis. Yeah, as you can see, I trimmed another Totsis on the draw. So having 1 Totsis is fine, but drawing like 2-3 Totsis can definitely lose you the game. So I definitely always trim one on the play, two on the draw. That is like my standard procedure with most decks I play. Except if they're like really dependent on dotsies and don't have other type of interaction. Okay, so also stubborn denials are pretty bad in the scam matchup. They are okay in game 1, you can counter some stuff with it, but that is definitely not a card you want to have in the post board games. Okay, so having Expressive Iteration and Questing Druid, it's really good for this matchup. Okay, so unfortunately I didn't get the fetch to be able to use the Fatal Push, but I had Preordain and Questing Druid for the next turn. I was hoping if they kill my Shadow, then I'll be able to push their Shepherd. So I was kind of afraid of them having the Undying spell here. Fortunately, they didn't find it. So I went for Preordain, finding another Questing Druid and attacking with 8/8 Shadow, passing the turn. Opponent gets the Terminate, but I have double Questing Druid, which is really amazing in this situation. So I go for Questing Druid, play 8/8 Shadow, dash the Ragavan. And the Ragavan dash is really cool with Questing Druid. You get to grow it each turn, plus also other spells you draw. You can just make it really large very quickly. And I went for Tear Asunder, exiling the token to kill my opponent immediately. Had lethal, and that is the match. Okay, so let's check out the match 3. Okay, in the match 3, as you can see, again, like this is pretty good hand, definitely type of hand you always want to draw. Ragavan, Totsis, Expressive Iteration, Shadow, really good hand. So my opponent was playing the B Infinity. I took their Springleaf Drum. Taking their Springleaf Drum, I think it's very important in this matchup. It's the card that gives them the most speed, and I was able to play the big Shadow early. They traded with my Ragavan, and I was able to discard the Springleaf Drum, so I was able to tempo them out very efficiently. Opponent played the Beans, played the Ornithopter as attacker, and I shocked in another shock to make my Shadow 10/10 for the lethal this game, and that was it. Okay, so fortunately I have good sideboard cards in this matchup. Tear Sanders, I have Back to Nature. These cards can be pretty effective in this matchup. So I put all Questing Druids out in this matchup on the draw. Questing Druid is kind of slowing your deck down, and this matchup is all about early game. So I was able to Stone Rain them with Back to Nature for 2 mana and kill their Frogmite here and also take their land. So unfortunately I played the Tear Asunder on their land, but immediately next turn they get Urza Saga. Yeah, so if I hit this Urza Saga instead, I would be in a much better position. But yeah, there was no way for me to know they have Urza Saga there, and I wanted to be aggressive in the early game. Of course, just exiling their land for 2 mana is really good, especially since it was the only colored land they had at this point. So I didn't really didn't have any doubt about that. Okay, opponent makes 2 large constructs, which is not that bad, but the problem is they got a lot of artifacts, and now they're able to go for Thought Monitor, find 2 Mirror Enforcers, make their construct really big. So now I have Dress Down to kill constructs, I have Tear Asunder to kill one of these, but that is not enough, and that is the game. I have to concede. This game was pretty close. If they played Urza Saga turn before and I killed that, then maybe it will be a completely different game. Okay, so in a game 3, I start off with the Totsis, discarding their Beanstalk, and they had like a top tier Urza Saga left in their hand. They go for they go for Frogmite on turn 2, which was okay by me. I was able to play a Shadow early again. Shadow is like really good in this matchup. And they played the Urza Saga now, but I had dress down for the construct tokens. Also finding a Tier Sunder is huge. So I get to find the Breeding Pool and Stone Rain them again. Attack with my large Shadow, and this is like very good tempo. Opponent is like not doing anything at the moment. They still have 2 turns before doing anything relevant. I still have Bolt, I still have Dress Down, and even finding a Murktide here is just very good. So I shock in the Steam Vents, make my Shadow 9/9. So I really wanted them to block the Ragavan because I had lethal if they do. I didn't want them to block the Shadow, so I give 13 damage with Shadow and finish them off with Bolt immediately for the kill, and that was the game. So otherwise this would be very hard matchup, but thanks to Tier Sunder and Artifact Enchantment Hate, I was able to get there. And yeah, we will watch the win first and defeat in the end, as always. Okay, so match number 4. Okay, so just Shadow at this point and no way to play it early, but sometimes these hands can be good too. This deck can definitely grind, having access to 4, as I said, 4 Questing Druids, 4 Questing Druids and 4 Expressive Iterations can be very effective. Okay, so nothing happening, just shocking in my lands to be able to play the Shadow, of course. Opponent also just passing turns. They were on Dimir control, so definitely this is going to be a long game. My opponent is playing Ring, they're playing Sheldred, they're playing Murktide. I play Totsis, my opponent reveals this hand and I take the Archmage Charm. I was expecting them to go for Sauron Ransom, so I wanted to take these two, get rid of these 2 cards that gives them most card advantage, and I had removal for a Sheldred, and I didn't care that much about removal or counterspell, so I had plenty of cards which I can get them to use the counterspell or removal. Okay, so opponent goes for Sheldred. As I said, I just don't care about this because I know that they don't have a counter, and I had to terminate there, so I was able to play that Shadow. I wanted them to use the Sheldred Edict so I can play my Murktide. Okay, so yeah, now definitely I'm going for the Murktide. Make a 7/7 Murktide. I could go like Bolt Phase then play 8/8 Murktide, but it was more valuable just keeping the bolts in case they play another Sheldred. Opponent goes for Archmage Charm, drawing 2 cards, then cantripping some more and passing the turn. Yeah, so Lightning Bolt plus Murktide is very efficient here. I go for second board when I draw another Murktide, and I go for another Murktide, making my Regent 9/9. So missing 1 damage for the kill. They had the counter for my first Murktide, but this 9/9 guy on the field was too strong. And yeah, so if I went like Bolt Murktide last turn, I would have lethal on this one. But yeah, I think keeping bolts is always fine. and it's not a bad play. Okay, so in the game 1, let's check out the game 2. So post board in the Dimir control matchup, I was definitely thinking about having Bowmasters on the sideboard for matchups like this one, but also I like Commandeer in matchups like this. So when you play this matchup, your opponent will absolutely always step out to play the ring. They like do it in 99% of situations. So having Commandeer in that situation to take their ring can definitely win you the game very quickly. Yeah, so I don't think this was ideal play, like stealing shekels, but I really wanted to do it. And yeah, so I already lost match 3, so this wasn't relevant for the trophy. So I was 3-1 at this point when I played this match, so I would usually just keep the Commandeer for the ring, but decided to take shekels for fun. And yeah, so now opponent played the ring. As I said, they tapped out, so if I had the Commandeer at this point, I would just take the ring and win the game. I had a tier Sunder post board to take care of their stuff like shekels, the ring of course, which is great thing for the matchup. And now I had like 4 islands, so this means if they play Sheldred, I can just take the shekels. That is very good. And yeah, unfortunately my draws after this were not good, and opponent just played the Lorien revealed. This meant that yeah, my situation is not good anymore. Opponent goes for the Bowmaster, killing my Questing Druid. So I give their Orc Army token back, play the Ragavan, which is also very useless right now. So I can take their Bowmasters with shekels, but they have Otawara. That is like the only card they can use to bounce it back to their hand, and that is it, yeah. So now they can play shekels, and they have a lot of islands, so that is the game. Okay, let's check out game 3. Yeah, so definitely if I didn't go for the shekels there, I would have a good chance to win here by taking their ring and tapping it immediately on their turn, then untap and draw 2 more cards. I think that would be like game over. That was my idea behind Commandeer, so using it for the ring matchups, using it for Tron. Okay, so Tron, you take the Karn, and that is like the easiest way to win. Also taking ring in that matchup is cool too. Okay, so going for the Druid again. I did it end of turn when they were tapped, so I was able to play the Druid and go for the Thoughtseize and still have like a lot of good cards in the hand. I played Thoughtseize, revealed 2 rings and Fatal Push in their hand, also third land. So opponent still had, I take one of the rings, and yeah, them having 1 ring is much better than having 2 rings. When they have multiple rings, they can like control their life total much better. Yeah, so I really needed them to not. I had a stubborn denial now, so I was pretty safe from them playing the ring. And yeah, my situation was decent. But when my opponent tried to kill my shadow, I decided I'd rather just counter the removal for the shadow than the ring itself. And yeah, so going for another Thoughtseize, and my opponent revealed again. They had 2 rings in hand, so they really needed that mana but didn't get it. I decided to kill their creature and to clear the way for the shadow. This will make sure they block my shadow here, so threatening next turn for the lethal if they don't draw a land for the ring. And even if they do, like I'm still in a great position here. I play my second Murktide with a large shadow on the field, and now also Questing Druid. They subtlety one of my Murktides, but I have a pretty big one on the field. 8-8, so even if they resolve the ring last turn, they would just untap with less life, and I would have like 3 really good threats on the field. threatening to end the game very quickly, so they would still be in a pretty bad situation. But yeah, they were screwed, and that was it. Okay, so that was the match, and let's check out the loss, the only loss in the league. Okay, so the loss was against that Talking Company. Is that the name of the deck? The deck that plays full deck, playing Samwise Cauldron Familiar combo with Academy Manufacturer. Yeah. So I wanted to connect with Ragavan there, so that's why I used the Terminate on Familiar. So turn 2 going with Expressive, didn't find a removal for Halfling, so just attack into Halfling, trade with Halfling, I'm happy with that. Have options now, I can go for Shadow, even Murktide, but Murktide is too little at this point, so just play the Shadow, they go for Manufacturer. You really want to kill this guy, but unfortunately I was just not able to find a removal on this turn, but I was able to play a large Murktide, which was good. But unfortunately my opponent plays a second Manufacturer, then plays the Gingerbread Cabin, gets a bunch of mana, has Chord of Calling to find Samwise, then return Cauldron Familiar from the graveyard, and they got bunch of these. Yeah, so as you can see, I played 2 Seek the Beast on this turn, hitting 3 lands and the Thoughtseize. So yeah, I played Thoughtseize, them revealing 3 lands in hand, so I'm in decent position now. My opponent needs some top deck, but yeah, they had a lot of draws here, a lot of clue tokens, but mana is still limited. But yeah, their first top deck was Chord of Calling for the lethal immediately with Viscerous Seer, and nothing I can do about that. Opponent had really good draws in this one, especially in this game too, like insane draws, we will see. Okay, so pretty good hand. Let's see my sideboarding plan for this one. They're playing that Lonis combo. So Tear Sunders, again helpful, Stubborn Denials, okay, but not really. They only have chords and cocos. And probably, yeah. Okay, so Thoughtseize is decent, but not that great. They can get their important spells. They can quickly use their entire hand. So this was pretty insane. I basically discarded the Chatterfang from their hand. They played Temple Garden and other Chatterfang, so at this point they had Boseiju and Heat in their hand. So their passing turn, I play 8/8 Murktide there, and my opponent top decks Manufacturer into Gingerbread Cabin, into Samwise, getting the Cauldron back from the graveyard, and with the Chatterfang and the Manufacturer on the field, that is the Infinite. So my opponent wins again, but the top decks were like really amazing. Manufacturer into Samwise from the top for the win in a situation when they didn't have anything in hand, like absolutely anything. They had like just a Chatterfang and 2 lands. So yeah, that was a pretty good draws for the opponent, and that was it. I thought like I really have this one, but they really top decked well. Okay, so that is it. I'm very happy with this deck. Questing Druid and 4 Expressive Iterations means like infinite grind. Often like I was drawing so much that I was milling myself faster than actual beans or ring decks. And you can really quickly go through a lot of cards, find the stuff you need, similar as if you have like DRC in your deck, 8 of these really powerful draw spells plus 6 cantrips really enable you to go fast and to find the answers you need. Okay, so all of these cards also fuel the Murktide well, and yeah, the main advantage of the build like this one is having a Murktide as your big payoff. I think having Murktide in your Shadow deck is really strong, and also having Murktide plus Shadow and the Questing Beast enables the Stubborn Denial, well, the card that is very powerful. Right now, of course, you could see like a couple of matchups in this league where you board them out, you don't need a non-creature counter spells, but it is like that, and Stubborn Denial is very useful in a lot of other matchups. So that is it. Okay, so hope you like the league, hope you like the gameplay. As I said already, there are definitely some flex slots on the sideboard, but you could see like potential of Commandeer in this last game. In the ring matchup, you just take the ring and win very easily. Like they completely depend on that card, and they will always step out. And there is enough blue cards, especially post board when you're bringing in like you're mostly bringing in Force of Negation and Commandeer in the same matchup, so that is 4 more blue cards in addition to these all in the main, so that is usually enough for Commandeer to work well, and thanks to the card advantage you can really use this very effectively. Okay, so that is it, but as I said, like second explosives, 2 Narsets, part of the wheels on the sideboard are definitely options that could be very good, even maybe better than this one. Okay, so that is it. Again, thank you for watching. Friendly reminder to click like, click subscribe, tell me how you like this build, what is your experience with this, did you try it, did you play it, and again, yes, so thanks for watching and goodbye.